Alright everyone, let's start off with CFA Level 2's first class. So before I start with the discussion on the syllabus as to what exactly are you looking forward to, how are you supposed to be preparing, from where are you supposed to be preparing, how much time is it going to take to prepare, where are you supposed to be practicing from, what is the extent of practice that is required, how are you supposed to be cracking your exam, in detail every single chapter, every single topic that you're going to be studying, so that you have a holistic view about what the syllabus is all about, and in which order you're supposed to be studying, how are you supposed to be tracking your performance, and how much of institute's resources needs to be covered, what kind of paper comes in, not exactly what kind of paper comes in, but the difficulty level, etc., or maybe a comparison from CFA of CFA level 2 with respect to CFA level 1, and the changes that have been made from the 2017 to 2018 curriculum. So these are broadly what we are going to be looking at right now. So before I start off with the syllabus, I want to discuss the syllabus at length in detail, but before I do that, the first thing I want to talk about is the exam pattern, the exam structure, because there is going to be a slight shift from the level 1 to the level 2 curriculum, level 2 exam pattern. So when you're looking at the level 2 exams, level 1 you had the exam twice in a year, June and December, but level 2 and level 3 takes place only in the month of June. This time for 2018 students, the exam is taking place on the 23rd of June, contrary to the regular ones wherein the first Saturday is your exam date. I believe it's only one time thing, and maybe from the next year again it's going to get back to the first Saturday, but I'm not sure on that. But anyways, for this time we have the exam on the 23rd of June, and therefore I get an extra month to teach. So that's good. That's something good from my side. When you're looking at the exam structure, you had two exams, 9 to 12 and 2 to 5, the morning exam and the afternoon paper, the AM and the PM, the morning and afternoon session, and you had 120 MCQs each in each of those sections. But this time you will be having only 60 MCQs in each of the sections, 9 to 12 and 2 to 5. You'll be having only 60 MCQs in 9 to 12 and 2 to 5. When you're looking at the 60 MCQs, if you think that you'll be saving a lot of time, because earlier you got 3 hours for 120 questions and now you're getting 3 hours only for 60 questions, you're actually not going to be saving time. Rather, level 1 was not so much of a time crunch, but level 2 is going to be quite a bit of a time crunch. So the number of questions have been halved, but I'm telling you that you have double time per question. But at the same time, I'm telling you, there will be a slight time crunch over here. You have 180 minutes for 60 questions, you have 3 minutes per question, but still it's going to be quite a bit tedious over here with respect to managing time. Practice is of utmost important in level 2, even if you cleared level 1 without much of a practice, or you just scrape through it, but level 2 is not going to be that way. So for level 2, you need to be very good with your practice and your content, your concepts, your practice. Your practice needs to be quite important over here. Giving mock papers is very, very important. So towards the end of the session, after the syllabus is done, we will be having mock tests and all. So in the attending those mock tests is very, very important, giving those mock tests. I'll tell how the video students, the D2H students, etc. are supposed to be going about it, because even they will have to time themselves and give the exam at home, and if they are not able to find that time, they'll have to take up, let's say, 1 hour, 1 hour and 1 hour and give the same exam in 3 parts. So suppose I have 60 questions or 10 item sets, so maybe I can divide it into 5 item sets in 1.5 hours and 5 item sets in 1.5 hours, and that is how I'll be attempting the mock papers at home. But the mock papers is a must. Anyways, so you have your exam pattern, 60 questions, 60 MCQs in each. Now these 60 MCQs is actually 10 item sets. These 60 MCQs will actually be 10 item sets over here. So when you're looking at your item set, basically, suppose this is your question paper, you will have a lot of details, you will have another table with data, details and table, and suppose question 1 starts over here, you have option A, B and C. Then on the next page you will have question 2, option A, B, C, question 3, option A, B, C, question 4, option A, B, C, question 5, option A, B, C, and question 6, option A, B, C. So that is how you will be having your paper. You will have an item set wherein a full passage is going to be given. The passage will be having a lot of tables, a lot of details, etc. It generally approximates around 2 pages, 3 pages, etc. And you will be having questions 1 to 6 on that particular content. but it is not going to be so difficult. They could have made it even more difficult, but what happens is generally in most of the questions, the first paragraph of the first question will be relating to only the first part. Once that part is over, the second question is going to be coming from the second part. The third question will come from the third part. So it is going to be in a serial order. It's not going to be like you need all the information holistically to solve all the 6 questions. It will generally not be like that. Most of the questions will be following like question 1 from here, then question 2, then question 3. So we will have a discussion exactly how are you supposed to be attempting your paper as well, because when you're looking at your paper, you're expected to be reading the questions number 1 and 2 first, or at least question 1, then start reading the data. You will have the question 1's answer, you mark that answer, you read question 2 first, and then continue reading the passage. So we will discuss exactly how are you supposed to be going about with the questions and how to attempt your paper. We will have that session. We'll have at least a 20 minutes 30 minute session on exactly how are you supposed to be attempting your paper. A lot of tricks are there. Level 1, I'm sure it must have helped you guys as to how to plan your paper, complete it on time, revise everything. So not everything, but the important ones, and etc. So we'll discuss that part. So but this is going to be an exam pattern. So one difference is this: the exam pattern is going to change. That's one major shift when you're looking from level 1 to level 2. When you're looking at level 1 curriculum, the difficulty level increases quite a few notches. Level 2 to level 3, the difficulty level does not change so much. But when you're looking from level 1 to level 2, the difficulty level is going to increase quite a bit, because level 1 was introducing you to all the topics. The subjects in level 1 and level 2 are exactly the same. You have exactly the same subjects, same number and the same subjects that you had in level 1. Level 2 is going to be more of a continuation and a build-up on the introduction that was already provided to you in level 1. Fixed income, alternate investments, derivatives, equity, corporate finance, etc. All the subjects is going to be building up now in level 2 curriculum. Just a second. So level 1 was more of an introduction towards what different subjects you're going to be studying, but level 2 is going to get into a lot of detail. So without further delay, let me discuss the syllabus at length first, and then I will get into exactly from where are you supposed to study, how to study, etc. Everything I'll be discussing about it. Right. So let me just first very quickly get to the subjects. So when you're looking at your subjects, we have the same 10 subjects. This time it is divided into 17 study sessions instead of 18 study sessions. You will have approximately 52 readings or so. Exact precise number would be, you would have about 52 readings, that's correct. No, the new readings are 51. So according to the new one, you will have 51 readings or so. Anyway, so we have about 51 to 52 readings when you're looking at your CFA level 2 curriculum. Let me start with the discussion on the very first subject. So the first subject that you'll be finding is your ethics. The first subject is ethics. You people have been very scared of ethics from the very beginning, from level 1 itself. But then again, ethics is going to be the same 7 standards, and we will have certain additional content. So we have the 7 standards. So in level 1 you have 7 standards plus GIPS. In level 2 you will have the same 7 standards, most of the question concentrated around that, and there will be a research objectivity standards also. Now when you're looking at the research objectivity standards, it's not something new that you'll have to study. It's not an it's not a replacement or an additional standards per se, but say for example, when you're looking at a profile like a research analyst, his job is to do research, to provide equity research, to provide different kinds of research, give recommendations on the basis of that. So how do those 7 standards kind of extend a little more detail and the application of those 7 standards on the profile of a research analyst? So level 1 was 7 standards plus GIPS, level 2 is 7 standards plus research analyst, level 3 will be 7 standards plus asset manager code. So how is an asset manager supposed to behave? We'll do it in level 3. In level 2 we are supposed to be learning how a research manager, a research analyst is supposed to be behaving, and you know the do's and don'ts for a research manager. So that is what is going to be here. Students get confused over here thinking that the 7 standards are separate and the research analyst is separate, but all the 7 standards apply to a research analyst. It is just that we are getting into more detail, or we are extending our study to the profile of a research analyst over here. there are if you see the content, you might find another 4-5 chapters or so over here, but actually they are not 4-5 readings or 4-5 chapters technically. They are 4-5 examples that have been given. You don't need to learn. There are different case studies that have been provided to you. It's hardly going to take time with that. Content is basically 7 standards plus something. Now in level 1, for those who were there with me in level 1, you already have that sheet wherein we had more than 600-700 examples of ethics compiled into a 15-page sheet. So that is again something that you'll be using in levels 1, 2 and 3 altogether. So basically what we've done is we've divided all the ethics, all possible examples into a compiled sheet wherein, you know, all the examples are talking whether this is a violation of the standard or not a violation. So you'll have like 600, 700, 800 questions have been put together in just a 15-page content. So that will be very useful over here. Again, the second thing is that people get very overconfident. I see students getting very overconfident, especially in level 3 actually, not in level 2 so much with respect to ethics. You're not supposed to do that. Even the level 3 candidates will have to practice ethics absolutely very well in order to be able to crack this one. So you cannot take it for granted that I have the same 7 standards in level 1 and level 2, so I will be able to do it without practice. Practice is only the thing that is required in ethics. In level 1 also, the studying time for ethics was very, very minimal, but the practice was very important. In level 2 also, you cannot ignore, because if you're out of practice, you will not be able to solve ethics questions. And you've seen that in level 1. It's about practice. It's about getting into that kind of a flow. So ethics, please don't be overconfident and ignore. And if you're so overconfident, 2-3 months before the exam, give a paper, give 2 papers or 3 papers, your score will tell you that you're not supposed to be overconfident. So if you want, you can wait for that and give the exam and get a bad score and then start studying. So ethics is something that you'll have to see. So ethics has got 2 study sessions over here, and that is basically covering the 7 standards, and primarily we have the research objectivity. Research objectivity standards for analysts. I'm just shortening it up for you. The next one is going to be quants. Quants is going to be having only 1 study session. So we have 1, we have 2, and we have 1 study session. When you're looking at quants, we don't have so much of the content as compared to level 1. So we have only 3 or 4 readings over here. We have about 4 readings over here in case of quants. And level 3 does not have quants anymore. So level 1 quants is going to be a little difficult. It will actually be quite a bit difficult when you compare to level 1 curriculum as well. It's not going to be probability level, but probability will be hypothesis level for a couple of chapters over here. But I know as you guys did not have a problem with hypothesis, because most of the formulas we were proving in the class, try not to mug up, because if you are mugging up, you'll not be able to solve questions. I'm telling you, you cannot be mugging up anything. We used unitary method to prove most of the formulas, and we used unitary method instead of learning the formulas in level 1, and that is what we are going to continue with in level 2 as well. But quants is going to be a tad bit difficult. Quants, primarily the content will be, the first one is going to be correlation regression. When you're looking at regression, basically if I have, say, suppose you've done characteristic line in portfolio. So when you're looking at the x-axis and the y-axis and the x-axis, you regress the stock's return with respect to the market's return. You want to find out an equation that my market's return, my stock's return is equal to something into market return plus something. So how to form that equation is your regression analysis. I had discussed that in portfolio. So correlation and regression is going to be the first chapter. In the second one, you're going to get into more detail like autoregression, multicollinearity. The terms, it's very difficult to explain right now, but we will be doing an extension of multiple regression. Say for example, forming an equation like a y is equal to b0 plus b1x1 plus b2x2 plus b3x3 plus b4x4. So multiple variables together. So when we are putting in, when we have an extended equation with multiple variables together, that is multiple regression, and we will be having a lot of content inside that. It's going to be a little difficult. In the next one, in the next chapter, the 3rd chapter, we are going to be studying on the time series analysis. Now say for example, if I want to look at the trend of the data, how has the data been moving over the years, over the months, over the trading days, how to analyze the trend, based on the trend, how do you make a forecast for the next day, all that we will be studying in the time series analysis. And the last chapter is going to be a fairly theoretical chapter. It's going to be very simple, easy probability kind of a chapter. It's going to be very theoretical, very easy, but it's going to be theoretical. So those are the 4 chapters in your quant study session. Then we move towards the economics part. When you're looking at the economics section, again we have only one study session and we have about 1, 2, 3 or 4 readings over here. There is one major change in the economics curriculum. When you look at that, there is a chapter on currency. So 2017 the chapter on currency was different, and this time the chapter on currency is going to be different. So currency is a chapter that has changed. You have done one small chapter of currency, that was the last chapter, last reading when you were looking at the CFA level 1 curriculum. That same lesson is going to be extended quite a bit, and it's going to be a very huge chapter, to be very honest. It's going to be quite an extensive chapter, but it's very interesting and it's going to be confusing in places. So how is the currency movement happening? So all the global macroeconomic factors, IRP, PPP, inflation rates, interest rates, Fisher's equations, a lot of things are going to be coming in the currency chapter. That's going to be the most important part of your economics section. Again, economics is not as big as it was, as huge as it was in level 1. You just have 3 chapters over here. One is with respect to currency. The second one is going to be giving you giving you an equation. Basically, we'll be forecasting the growth rate of the economy. So the growth rate of the economy should be depending on 3 factors, primarily technology, the labor supply, and the capital that is available. So we will be building up on that model, and that is what we are going to be working on. It's going to be a fairly easy chapter, small chapter, should not be much of an issue. Economic growth and investment decisions. And the last one, in fact, if you understand, the long-term growth rate of the economy should be the growth rate of the company also. When you use the formula D1 by RE minus G, the G is the long-term sustainable growth rate. Of course, the sustainable, long-term sustainable growth rate has to be the growth rate of the economy, because if any company, any industry is getting supernormal growth, people will enter, snatch away that from you, or if the company is performing, or if the industry is performing at a lower than the level at which the economy is working, in that case people will be leaving the industry, because that's how it is. You need to be at the normal level, at the level at which everybody is. Otherwise there will be a supernormal growth phase or a suboptimal phase, and then the industries will be either entering or exiting, and therefore the G, the growth rate that you calculate for the GDP of the economy, should be the long-term sustainable growth rate for the mature industries when we apply the formula D1 by RE minus G. For those if you're having any problem, if you're not catching up or something, don't worry, because I'm just trying to introduce the topic. You're not supposed to be understanding anything. You're just supposed to be getting familiar with what kind of content you're looking at, because I need to give you a whole idea of the syllabus and how exactly to proceed and what chapters will be related, and how the order of study should be, etc. So to do that, you need to have an idea about what you're studying. And I'll also tell you why you need to understand the connection between the different subjects and all. So that is economics for you. And then there's another theory chapter, economics of regulation. It's a little irritating theoretical chapter. It's a very small chapter, hardly takes time. So basically why we should have regulation, and a few theories and all given. Very theoretical, very irritating, but thankfully very small. Then when you're looking at your FRA, your second part that we'll start with is your FRA. So the next study session is going to be on your financial reporting analysis. Earlier financial reporting analysis used to have, I think it's divided into one study session or two, just a second. FRA is going to be 2 study sessions. FRA is going to be 2 study sessions because they've made some changes. I thought this was combined into one. So FRA has 2 study sessions. The first study session is going to be having three readings. The first reading is going to be on pension funds. So PUFE, level 1 I had taught you that part. Pension funds, defined contribution plan, defined benefit plan also we had covered in the liabilities chapter of level 1 curriculum. So the one chapter is going to be on pension funds. How do you record the defined benefit plan or defined contribution plan together? So that is one reading. Pension fund is supposedly one of the most difficult readings of your whole entire curriculum. But I'm sure you guys will not have a problem, because level 1 also had given you a full idea. I had made you do almost the whole of it in level 1 itself. Level 2 again, the whole of it will be done, but obviously in more detail and with more numericals, because level 1 was only hardly a couple of pages with the IFRS and US GAAP differences stated over there. The first chapter, the first reading will be with respect to the third reading is actually pension. The next reading is going to be with respect to intercorporate investments. So when you're looking at holding companies, subsidiary companies, one company controlling another, one company investing maybe 20-25% stake in another company, then we call it associate companies, because if you have a 20% stake in another company, you are controlling a bit of the company. So all those things are going to be there in intercorporate investment, joint ventures. How are the ratios going to be affected? Whether you follow a joint venture method, an associate affiliate company or a holding subsidiary kind of a method. So how is that going to be working out? That is your intercorporate investments. And the third one is it's a little confusing until you get the hang of it, but it is very interesting. That is your multinational operations. So if there are countries who are trading with countries abroad, if there are countries who are owning subsidiaries or something abroad, if there are countries who are taking loans etc. from abroad, how is their balance sheet supposed to be stated? Say for example, if Tata Motors has got Jaguar on its own balance sheet, the pound needs to be converted to rupee to have a consolidated balance sheet for Tata Motors. Now when Brexit happened, how is that going to be impacting your balance sheet? How are you supposed to be preparing it under IFRS versus US GAAP? So it is an extremely interesting content. And then when your local currency is going up, going down, the foreign currency in which you've invested, that is going up, appreciating, depreciating. So it's going to be extremely interesting when you're looking at the FRA content. So these are the three primary chapters, primary readings in the first: pension, multinational and intercorporate. There's another study session that is having two chapters, having two readings over here. One reading is going to be based on evaluating the quality of financial reports. So it's going to be quite similar, if not exactly the same as to the last study session that you did in FRA. But over here, when you're looking at the second reading over here, the second reading is going to be, it's more or less like a case study given to you. The whole reading is going to be like a case study given to you, with the first half having maybe a few terms or a model or something. Like, because we've already seen that, window dressing should not be there. As an analyst, how are you all supposed to be detecting? How are we all supposed to be detecting any kind of window dressing, manipulation, misreporting or etc.? You've studied that in the level 1 content. So that part needs to be now actually applied if you have been given an extensive case study. And trust me, the kind of item sets that you will get on this is going to be very, very tricky. So we will have to make sure that we are practicing really well with respect to the item sets over here. I'll tell you exactly which chapters, how much to practice, where to practice from. I'll tell you exactly what kind of performance trackers and all will be given. I'll get to that part also. But this reading in particular, we are going to be very sure that we are practicing very well. So I'll tell you what chapters, what readings will have what kind of, what kind of practice needs to be focused on. So we'll discuss that a little later. So that is your FRA. So there are two study sessions. One is going to be with respect to the three readings: pension, multinational, intercorporate, and the other one is going to have the quality of financial reporting, etc. And the second one is going to be having kind of more of a case study. And there will be a few terms like, we have a ratio like a accruals ratio or something. So when you're reporting net profit, it's based on what is the net profit based on cash flows, what is the amount based on net accruals, because a manipulation can happen in case of accruals. So we kind of calculate ratios and all to assess how the financial reporting standards have been applied, what is the kind of quality of the financial statements over here. So that is what we have in the FRA curriculum. Then we move to the corporate finance part. Now if you see, quants is not there in level 3, FRA will not be there in level 3, corporate finance is also not there in level 3. So you will be studying this subject for the last time. So when you're looking at corporate finance, we again have got two readings over here. I'll again brief you about the changes. So currency is one chapter that has major changes. The second reading that has got changes is your dividend policy. From level 1 2017 curriculum, dividend chapter has been deleted, and they have kind of combined the two into one in your level 2 curriculum. And the third reading, so we've already covered two. One is your currency, one is your dividends, and the third one is going to have slight changes when you're looking at your pricing and valuation of forward commitments. So derivatives, the first reading of derivatives has slight changes, but other than that, currency has got some changes over here, and currency over here, and dividend policy over here. Dividend policy, a few LOSs have been added. Currency is a very, very minor or negligible kind of a change, and derivatives I'm yet to check. So derivatives also has a few changes over there in the first reading. So when you're looking at the corporate finance content, the first study session is going to be having readings on capital budgeting, capital structure, and dividends. So the first reading will have 3 lessons: capital budgeting, capital structure, dividends, and that's about it. So when you're looking at capital budgeting, it's going to be an extension of what you've already studied in level 1 curriculum. Capital budgeting will be having much more promising sums, and the last part of the chapter will be very interesting, wherein we'll have readings, a reading on different methods in which you're going to do the capital budgeting decision. Residual income method is going to be there, your net income method is going to be there, net profit, economic profit method is going to be there. So a lot of different methods in order to evaluate the projects and all. It'll be quite extensive as compared to level 1, but level 1 content is understood that you know the level 1 content. The entire curriculum I'll keep on revising, I'll keep on doing the level 1 content also wherever it's needed in bits and pieces, but we are expecting that the level 1 content is very thorough. That is why when I used to do level 1, I've proven almost all the formula, and I kept on telling you guys that your foundation, your base, your concepts needs to be very strong. Right, we will again anyways redo everything that is going to be needed over here, so you don't have to worry about it, right? Because I know a lot of people have that kind of, you know, a fear that level 1 was just you just somehow scraped through, somehow managed, but it's still not going to be an issue. Capital structure is going to be dealing with quite a few theories like Modigliani-Miller theory and financial distress theory, etc. Capital structure is basically focusing on whether you should be raising money using equity, equity debt, equity preference debt, and in what kind of a ratio. So what would be the optimal ratio of raising the equity and debt capital? Capital structure, how should your capital be structured? So that is what we are going to be focusing in the capital structure portion. Then when you're looking at the dividend policy part, dividend you've already done level 1, that is going to be extended over here. We will also have the impact of taxation on dividend, different ways in which the countries tax dividend. Some countries would be taxing dividend, some countries would be giving dividend exempt of taxation, some countries might be taxing dividend in the hand of company but not in the hands of the investor. So how are the different ways, because capital gain tax could be different, dividend tax could be different. So we will need to study the financial impact and what should be the better ideal way of doing the same. We are not going to be studying any company's tax laws. Just the way you had deferred tax asset, deferred tax liability reading in level 1 curriculum, you have the impact of taxation on dividend, but you don't have to study the taxation per se from a very specific country specific point of view. So we don't have to study that way. And again, how much dividend to give, whether to give dividend or not, what are the different ways in which dividend can be given. So one is, you know, you can fix the dividend rate, that whatever is the income, I will give a fixed rate of dividend. And one could be you can fix the dividend amount. So whatever be my income, it doesn't matter, I will give the same amount of dividend. Now if your dividend volatility goes down, your risk level from the investor's perspective goes down. If I'm getting the same dividend every year, there is more consistency, sigma is lower, risk is lower, so I might be valuing the company at a higher price. So when you're giving a dividend, it's not a very easy decision to make as to whether should I give a high dividend, low dividend. This particular year my profits have been relatively lower, so should I give lower dividends this time? It might not be a good signal. But again, the same dividend, when you're giving a lower dividend because you want to retain money, because you have a very lucrative investment opportunity, that time the dividend might be a very good idea, giving lower dividends. So how do you manage that? All of it behind the dividends portion we are going to be doing over here. Then we move to the next study session of corporate finance. One is going to be again corporate governance. So you've done something similar in level 1 curriculum as well, but it's going to be a very, very important chapter, a very, very important reading, corporate governance and business ethics. So it's going to be very similar to the corporate governance you've done in level 1, but an extension of the same. There is another corporate performance, governance and business ethics. They've actually segregated two readings. Corporate governance is separate and business ethics, corporate governance performance is separate. If you need an example, like CSR activities have become very important. Say for example, when you're talking about business ethics, we now look at a stakeholder approach. Earlier it was just the shareholders. I just need to focus on the shareholders and I need to make money for them. But today it is stakeholder. You have to keep the employees happy, you have to keep the government happy with the taxation, you have to keep the customers happy, you have to keep the suppliers happy. You cannot mess around with anybody, because otherwise the company reputation goes down, and we do not want to invest in companies with poor corporate governance. So the governance part has been taken into quite a little extensive manner, and the theories and all behind that. So one is corporate governance and the other one again is corporate governance and business ethics. Right. The next one is going to be on your mergers and acquisition. That is going to be something interesting. You'll have a lot of, it's going to be a little longer, larger content to go through. It'll have numericals as well as a lot of theories. We have a lot of takeover defenses. You might have studied a couple of them in level 1, like poison pill or put or something you had studied in level 1, golden parachute or something you had studied in level 1. We are going to be having a lot of takeover defenses. I don't want to be taken over. Now what are the defenses? What are the different available techniques that I have in order to prevent a takeover from happening, and a lot of obviously a lot of calculations also as to how do you work on with a merger and acquisition transaction. That is your corporate finance curriculum. That completes your book 2. That is done with your second book. We move to the third book, and that's quite an important one when you're looking at the equity study sessions, because when you're looking at level 1 curriculum, it's kind of divided pretty rationally, and FRA has the largest weightage with 24% when you're looking at the weightage in level 1 curriculum. Level 1, you had exactly the fixed number of questions that would be turning up in the exam, but level 2 does not give you the fixed number of questions, it gives you a range. Like say for example, derivatives could be somewhere in between 10 to 15%. So if it is 10%, you're expecting 2 item sets, but the moment you say 15%, you're expecting 3 item sets. There are 20 item sets, 60 questions, 10 item set in the morning. Per item set you have 6 questions. There is no negative marking, you already know that. There are 3 options A, B and C. So there are 10 item sets in the morning half, the 10 item sets in the evening half. You have total 20 item sets. So derivatives is 10 to 15%. So you don't know whether it's going to be 2 item sets or 3. With FRA, it could be 15 to 20%. You don't know whether it's 3 or whether it's 4. With equity, it's approximately 25%. Equity has the largest weightage when you're looking at the level 2 curriculum. When you're looking at the level 3 curriculum, your portfolio will be the largest weightage. Portfolio will be 45 to 55% of the content. In level 3, what will happen is, whatever you have studied in level 1 and 2, levels 1 and 2 together, you are going to be combining all of it. So level 2 would be having equity portfolio management, fixed income portfolio management, alternate investment in a portfolio context. So everything you will be putting it, clubbing it together, all your knowledge. So levels 1 was introducing level 1. Level 2 is building up the base to a very good level. And then level 3 is going to be putting it all together. So level 2 will have about 25% or so of your content concentrated in the equity study session. Level 3 is going to move into portfolio part, wherein you'll be combining. So getting a very holistic idea, very concrete idea about what you're doing and how it's all connected is very important. So the next one is equity. Equity, we had seen quite a few changes in the last year's curriculum itself, but majorly if you see, there are a few about 3 to 4 theory chapters, which is fairly simple, industry analysis kind of chapter. Earlier there used to be something called Michael Porter's analysis. You've already done it in level 1. You had a single page, one LOS you had on Michael Porter, that is your threat of substitutes, threat of new entrants, bargaining power of buyer, supply, etc. So that is going to be a very important content, because when I give you a question on that, although that specific chapter was removed, but a small part is there. So a question can definitely turn up on that. And when you're looking at a question, it will be very subjective. It will be a proper case study of 2.5 pages, and studying that and then attempting the question becomes a little difficult. So you have to go into a lot of depth when you're looking at this curriculum. But primarily when you're looking at your equity portion, we have 2, I think there was 1. We have study sessions 10 and 11. So earlier we used to have 3 study sessions. No, we have still 3. So we have 3 study sessions in equity. We have 3 study sessions when you're looking at your equity content. The first 2 readings when you're looking at the equity content, equity valuation and we have equity valuation and equity, the return concepts, so different ways in which you can calculate return. Equity valuation will be a little theoretical, what is intrinsic value, what is book value, different ways of calculating P ratios, etc., using a market index, not using a market index. So the first 2 readings is going to be very small and very easy. Return concept still a little tricky. The next one is industry and comparison, company analysis. That is also going to be fairly easy. You've already seen industry analysis earlier. Then the next part is going to be where I want to focus on. So you have done dividend discount model earlier in level 1. You have done FCFF, FCFE approach in order to do the valuation. This is one reading. This is one reading. So we will be doing one reading each on each of the methods that you had studied in level 1. So this is going to be very interesting, very extensive, very easy also. Equity is not going to be a difficult topic. It's going to be fairly easy, and it is going to be very interesting. There is another residual income method, again for valuation. There is going to be a separate topic in order to do private companies valuation. So private company valuations will be another topic. So this is going to be a very interesting one. I think there's another one, relative valuation method. So the P ratio, PS ratio, PB ratio, so the relative valuation method as well. So we will have these readings. This is primarily what you're going to be studying in equity. The rest of the 3-4 chapters is just like that. It's going to be theoretical, it's going to be easy. Again, let me remind you, when you're looking at the other 3-4 readings also, I know that when you do not dare to leave out any of those readings as well, because there was one particular question in the institute's mock paper, when institute had released its mock papers to the students, there was one mock paper I had seen wherein one mock paper wherein there was a very difficult, very tricky question, not from these chapters but from the other reading. So you cannot afford to leave out any reading. Don't even dare to leave out any reading, because the institute might give you a question from anywhere, absolutely anywhere in the content. So don't think of doing that. Don't think of doing that. I don't remember clearly. Maybe it was the not the institute's mock paper. Some mock paper I was seeing somewhere. So some mock paper I had seen over there. You had a question which was not out of these content, out of this content. It was from the return concepts reading. So you cannot dare to leave any particular reading. So don't make that mistakes. You have only 52 readings to go ahead with. Trust me, 52 is not a huge content. 52 readings is not a huge content. It's around 8 or 9 readings less as compared to your level 1 curriculum. So please don't make that mistake of leaving out anything over here. Then we next move on to the fixed income valuation. We move to the next book. We have the alternate investments and the fixed income section over here. Alright, so we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 done already. Then we have one study session on your alternate investments. You will love the content of alternate investments in level 2. Level 3's content becomes a little theoretical, so it becomes a little annoying. Level 1 was just introducing you to the different kinds of alternate investments that you had. This time you will have one reading on private equity valuations. It's going to be very interesting. You're going to be studying VC, LBO, venture capital, leverage buyout, and the difference of the same. How do you supposed to be doing the valuations of the same? And venture capital valuation is going to be extremely interesting. You'll love the chapter. You'd love the reading. Then you have real estate. You have 2 readings again. One is the valuation of real estate and one is focusing on the real estate investment trust. So one is the valuation. How do you do the valuation? Proper numerical reading, very interesting again. And and the next reading would be on REIT. And there will be another reading of focusing on the commodity section. Hedge fund is not covered in your level 2 curriculum. Now when you're looking at your alternate investments, and when you're looking at alternate investment, when you're looking, except these 2 readings, when you're looking at corporate finance, when you're looking at FRA, economics, currency, the whole of quants, you will find that the level 2 curriculum is going to be a lot of number crunching. It's going to be very numerical, very number crunching kind of. You might get a little irritated right now, but when you move to level 3, you will miss out on the number crunching, because level 3 will be putting every concept, everything together. Level 3 also needs a very good strong base and very good understanding of the content, otherwise you're not able to answer the questions, right? So alternate investments, you'll find it extremely interesting. Commodity would not have so much of numerical as such, but the other 3 readings is going to be fairly numerical. So that is what we have in the alternate investment section. Then we move to the fixed income part. We have 2 study sessions over here in fixed income curriculum. Fixed income might be a little difficult, but not so much as compared to level 1. So it's going to be kind of at par. When you're looking at the readings in fixed income, we will have the term structure and interest rate dynamics. It's going to be on spot rates, forward rates, etc. I will personally have to revise everything in level 2. Spot rates, forward rates, par rates, YTM, IRR, BEY. What are the differences between all those rates? Duration, Macaulay's duration, key rate duration, modified duration, effective duration, because you will need that logic. Callable bond, puttable bond, I'll need all of that. I'll need all the basics revised in level 2. So I will be revising all of that as and when required when I start off with the fixed income curriculum. So the first one is talking about term structure, that is your interest rates, etc., spot rates, forward rates and all. So that is what we'll be discussing. The next reading is going to be on valuation of the callable puttable bonds, and also will be a small part wherein we'll be discussing how to value a mortgage backed security. So we are talking about the valuation of option embedded bonds now, and option adjusted spread. Now it will be a little tricky over here. So how do you do the calculation of an option adjusted spread is going to be discussed over here. The next reading is going to be on credit analysis model. It's going to be a little theoretical in places where you are going to be calculating. So there is a portion in derivatives. Derivatives will come next. There is a portion in derivatives in order to do the valuation of options. Alright, and in credit default model, credit analysis models, we will be needing a little bit of derivatives content. So it's important that the fixed income content is done after derivatives. I'll tell you exactly if any topic is interrelated. So the credit analysis model topic can only be done after derivatives is completed, not before that. So derivatives options, Black-Scholes model is a model, and the application of the same we'll see in the credit analysis model. So we will need that. But credit analysis model basically deals with the credit risk part of that, of the valuation. So how do you value a corporate bond? How do you value the credit risk part of the corporate bond? There are different models to discuss over here. Credit default swap, I had given you a very, very basic idea in the level 1 curriculum. When we were doing the level 1 curriculum, you had a very rough idea about the credit default swap. So we are going to have a full-fledged reading on that. Extremely interesting. So when you're looking at your fixed income curriculum also, it will be very interesting, but it's not going to be so extensive. Curriculum is relatively smaller. If you're looking at comparing it with a level 1 curriculum, it's relatively a little smaller. Yeah, FRA has shrunk, economics has shrunk, quants has shrunk, corporate finance has become a little bigger, equity has become quite significantly bigger, but other than that, alternate investments also quite a bit expanded. But other than that, if you see the content, you will see it's going down a bit. So you have a little lesser amount of content and work to do. Then we move to the next one. We have derivatives left, I believe, and portfolio. So then we have one study session on derivatives and 2 more left with portfolio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 11, 17. We are done. So in derivatives curriculum, the first reading is going to be on forwards and futures. The second reading is going to be, and forwards and futures, you had very theoretically done the formula forward is equal to spot plus interest plus storage minus benefits. We are going to be doing a full-fledged numerical analysis and all that on forwards and futures. Exceptionally interesting reading. Valuation of swaps, calculating the rates of swaps. So all the number crunching of derivatives, which was missing in level 1, is going to come now to you in level 2. It will be extremely interesting. We will derive all the formulas. In fact, for forwards and futures, the book might be stating about 7 or 8 formulas or something to do. You will not learn a single one. There will be one technique I'll talk about, and that will cover all the formulas that's there in your forwards and futures. So we will have to understand that way, and the way I'll get the formula done, you will be able to solve any kind of question with any kind of rate, whether the rate is continuous, whether the rate is discrete, quarterly, semi-annual. There's one trick. You need to understand the logic, because someone had the logic. So you need the basis right, because on that basis there are 8 varieties of formula created. So if I know the basis, I know the way the formula has been created, the way it's designed, I don't need to learn the 8 varieties separately, right? I just need to know the basic formula, and then everything works well with me. So we are not going to be in a mode of mugging up, because if you're planning to mug up, you're not going to be clearing a level 2 exam. I know I'm talking in a very negative note over here, but that is what it is. So even if level 1 was something where you had mugged up bits and pieces, I'm sure none of my students have been mugging up because I've been after their lives to do that. But then for even those who have been a little bit into a mugging up habit in level 1, you will have to change that habit. Take that extra effort. It's going to be working very, very well in your favor. You'll have to be able to, get to that level of basics. What is the implication or the logic behind Macaulay's duration? You cannot just mug up a formula. You have to have the idea about what does Macaulay duration stand for. What is it interpreting? How do you interpret that? How do you understand that? Macaulay's duration is the average time in which you recover your investment. It is the time if you hold your investment until Macaulay's duration, even if the interest rate changes once, your realized return is going to be YTM. So how do you implement, how do you analyze that particular topic? Mugging up formulas is not going to help. Then when you're looking at the second reading, it's going to be primarily on the options part, and the third one is going to be a little bit of strategies and all with while using options and all. So the second reading is going to be focusing on the options part. The first reading is of derivatives as forwards and futures and swaps. Second reading is on options, and the third reading is going to be having a little bit of risk management strategies of options. So how do you combine multiple options together and create the kind of payoff profile you want? It's a small chapter. It's very interesting. So your derivatives content is going to be amazing. I mean, I don't know. I love the content of derivatives over here. When you're looking at portfolio, and anyways, it's one of my favorite subjects. And when you're looking at portfolio has also got quite a bit of revisions, not from 2017 to 18, but from 2015-16 curriculum to 2017. A lot of revision has been done in the portfolio curriculum for over the last 2 years. So when you're looking at the portfolio content, you have the first one is your IPS. So RRTT, LLU, everybody understands that very well. Risk, return objectives, taxation, time horizon, liquidity, legal issues, unique constraints, etc. And if you understand that reading, you will see 70% of level 3 curriculum, entire curriculum, is based on RRTT, LLU. 70%. One chapter will talk about just R, one chapter will talk about just T. So level 3 curriculum when you're looking at. And then there was this planning execution review. Planning will take almost 1.5 to 2 books in level 3. Your execution and review will be book 3, last book, book 5 in level 3. So you are putting in all the content together. So as and when I go about the readings and all, I'll keep on telling you how are the chapters, how are the readings connected. So one is RRTT LLU, you'll have to study that again. In level 1, we had this formula RF plus RM minus RF beta. We were saying that my return of the stock is going to be depending only on one particular factor, that is the market return. But now we will have multiple multi-factor models. In fact, you had one very small LOS on multi-factor models in level 1 also, where I had discussed Pharma French, Carhart model and the multi-factor model. We will have a full-fledged detail on the multi-factor model over here. The next reading is going to be measuring market risk. There is something called value at risk. If you guys remember, I had done in your alternate investments last reading. There is a 5% probability that your losses can exceed this level. So, measuring market risk management is becoming more and more, is gaining more and more prominence, because it's again getting very practical implementations, and it's kind of required now in today's scenario. So they've introduced this chapter, this reading, measuring and managing market risk. So market risk is what we're going to be focusing on in the next study session. So we have the three readings, RRTT LLU, multi-factor model and measuring market risk. In the next study session, we have one reading called economics and investment markets. It's going to be framing an equation. We are going to try and frame a very huge equation. Your required return should be real return, inflation premium, default risk premium, if there is any maturity risk premium, if there is an equity, then equity risk premium. If you're talking about real estate, then a illiquidity risk premium. So how do you construct a rate? So the whole reading will start with one factor at a time, and in the end you will have a full-fledged big equation for how do you calculate the return. So that is what is going to be there in this one, economics and investments market. And of course, when you're calculating the required return, etc., it is going to be depending on the broad macroeconomic factors. So that is why the name of the chapter. Analysis of active portfolio management is going to be the most difficult reading of your portfolio section, and it's quite difficult when you compare it to the whole curriculum. Analysis of active portfolio management. You've done something called information ratio, if I'm not wrong, in level 1. No, information ratio was not there in level 1. In quants, there was something called tracking error. I had mentioned information ratio over there, if you all remember. Information ratio is when you're trying to analyze a portfolio manager. Now, portfolio manager might be investing in the stocks in a very passive manner, and might be holding whatever stocks have been there in say a benchmark or in say a Nifty. But why would I spend my money on a manager? Management fees is going to be incurred. If you remember, in portfolio had gross return and net return. I would want to maximize the return. If the portfolio manager, suppose I invest in Nifty gives me 12%. I will only invest in, and the manager is charging me suppose 2.5%. I will only invest in the manager when the manager is going to be earning more than 14.5, because 12 I can anyways gain through Nifty, and if the manager is charging me 2.5% management fee, I need 14.5% return. And also your belief whether the markets are efficient or not is going to come in. Do you think technical analysis, fundamental analysis and active management, buying selling can render larger returns for you? If you expect the markets to be efficient, you will not be able to go ahead with the active management, because then it doesn't make sense. Active management will only make sense when you think that there are mispricings in the market and you can capitalize on the undervaluations and overvaluations. So that is what we are going to be looking at when you are looking at the active portfolio management. But actually we will be looking at the measurement of how the manager is doing. There are a lot of formulas, a lot of content in active portfolio management. Suppose you don't allow short selling to a manager. Then how do you assess his alpha? What is his excess return? What is his active return that he's generating over and above the benchmark level? So it's going to be very interesting, but it's a little difficult. And the last one is algorithmic trading and frequency trading. It's something that is again getting very popular with respect to the technical analysis side of it. So they've got one reading on the algorithmic trading. How to use algorithm or computers and high frequency trading, etc. in the trading part of it. So it's going to be little technical related, not exactly technical, but somewhere on those grounds. But again, it's not going to be very numerical, the last reading. So when you're looking at the level 2 curriculum in its entirety, it's going to be much more numerical. Even the non-numerical questions are going to be absolutely conceptual. When you're looking at the difficulty level, yes, it's a little difficult. Content is smaller, lesser, same, quite similar, extensive, a little extensive, smaller, extensive and extensive. So that is not very extensive, it's kind of very similar, at least the portfolio part. So when you're looking at the overall content, it's going to be shrinking a little bit. When you're looking at the difficulty level, it's going to be increasing quite a bit. Level 1, level 2, level 3 is at the same. Level 3 and level 2 are going to be quite a bit in the same range, but level 1 to level 2 is going to be quite a few notches higher. Alright, now when you're looking at the readings being dependent on each other, Corporate finance is absolutely independent of all the other topics. FR is independent of all the other topics. Equity is independent, ethics, quants, economics, all the topics you'll find are absolutely independent of each other. Only one topic when you're looking at the fixed income, that credit analysis chapter, that is going to be depending on the derivative section. So it's important that you complete derivatives before fixed income. Other than that, any order is going to be fine. I will provide an order of study for you all. You will get a PDF exactly and on the when you begin your classes. So exactly in what order will the live classes be going, and for the video students also, for the D2H students also, exactly what order they are supposed to be following. So the order of study will be provided to you, because a lot of things are there. You know, the less retention subjects I'll try to put it at the end, the more retention in the beginning. I'll try to alternate between theory, practical, so that you know you don't get bored with the curriculum. So I've thought in a lot of things, and based on that you'll get your order of study, exactly how you're supposed to be preparing. I hope everybody is fine with the syllabus. This is the content, this is the curriculum that you're looking at, and then I'll move into my set of questions that I need to discuss. Just a moment. Alright, so we've got the same 10 subjects, 17 study sessions I've already discussed. Base needs to be very strong, exam pattern is different. Now, how are you supposed to be exactly attempting the paper at the end will be provided to you. Alright, so one is the order of study that needs to be provided to you. That will be given to you. The next one, we are looking at the exam pattern. Now, just before about 20 days, we try to complete the syllabus 1 month before the exam at least. So the exam, and this time it's 23rd June. So anyways, I believe I'll have even a longer duration. In the last 1 month, so for the live students or for the D2H students, in the last 1 month, you will have your revision sessions, and you're supposed to be appearing for your mock test. You will be having all your mind maps as well. So in the last 1 month, you can be using a lot of mind maps and all those things in order to make your preparation easier. In the last 1 month, you're expected to complete your curriculum 1 month before the exam. Just in case it's not possible, even if you're completing it 20 days before the exam, it's fine. Of course, the earlier you start, the better it is. You complete the curriculum on time. The more the time you have for revision, the probability of passing gets higher. So there is no hard and fast rule that if I complete the syllabus 10 days before the exam, I'll not clear. It's not like that. But we should target the earlier the better. Ideally, for my students, for the classes over here, we will be having the exam. We will be having the syllabus done 1 month before the exam. In the last month, or for some students, who have a lot of obligations with respect to work, job, etc. So for those, try to complete it as early as possible. Even if you have 20 days left, that's fine. So in the last 20 days or 1 month, you will be having your revision lectures. The D2H students can watch it at their place. The live students will be attending the live revision lectures over here. And then we will have 2 mock tests. So institute generally give every year 2 mock papers just before the exam. In the last month of the exam, institute releases 2 mock papers. So we try to get the students come over here in the exam environment. They can come and give the mock tests over here, the same paper over here in an exam kind of an environment. You can give the paper and you all can have a discussion after the exam once you're done with the mock paper. So the 2 mock papers needs to be the minimum that you need, the bare minimum that you need to do is give 2 mock papers just before the exam. So that will be somewhere in the last 10 days before the exam. So in the last second last 10 days or so bracket. So that is what you'll have to do. Just before the 1 month begins, I will be doing a session on how exactly you're supposed to be revising and how exactly you're supposed to be attempting your paper. D2H students will have the same videos already ready with them. For the live students, of course, it will not make sense for me right now to discuss how exactly to be attempting your paper, but I'll need 20 minutes to discuss exactly how are you supposed to be attempting your paper and how are you supposed to be revising. So I'll do that part then. So you will have that part over there. So that is that. Weightage of subject is given over here in the form of range. You don't have the exact number of questions. So you will have a range of the number of questions. You don't know exactly how many questions with derivatives is going to be turning up. It could be 12, it could be 18 as well. With respect to practice and how to go about studying and from where to study. Now you will have unlimited resources available, but you cannot practice from everything. You cannot study from everywhere. When you're looking at the institute curriculum, you will have the bookshelves already with you. The e-books already. Printed version, not very important. You may skip buying the printed version. You can just avail the e-version and that should be sufficient. You will not have to study from the institute material, you will be studying from the Schweizer material. So Schweizer material you are going to be purchasing on your own. We do not provide the Schweizer textbooks. Schweizer is going to be providing you 5 textbooks and 2 practice books as usual. We are not going to be using the 2 practice books as such. I'll get to the practice part. You will need those 5 textbooks in order to attend the classes or watch the classes. Institute's curriculum is not required. Whatever extra is needed will be provided to you from my end. You don't have to worry about anything. Either it will be dictated in the class along with the notes, etc., or it is going to be provided in the form of handouts. So, but you will need the core textbook, that is Schweizer textbooks will be needed for you to study and prepare. Anything in addition to that will be taken care of by me, because you will not have the time to actually prepare from the institute's material. It is a good idea to study from the institute's material, but then you will not have that time. So it does not make sense. Even if you start off with a couple of readings over here with the institute materials, it's not going to work out. Right, so it does not make sense. So for your studying point of view, you're going to be studying absolutely from Schweizer content. Anything extra is either going to be dictated or small bits and pieces over here and there, and whatever extra is needed is going to be given to you in the form of handouts. You don't have to worry about the institute's material. When you're studying in your Schweizer textbooks, say for example, when there is an example given, make sure as I start with the content, I'll keep on doing that when I'm studying with you, when I'm studying with you guys. But then you need to either tick an example or cross an example. You do your solution in a very short manner. Most of the questions I'll make you write the solution in a very short manner, and you don't have to go through a very long solution, tedious solution that's given over here. There might be a full paragraph. The only useful part might be only this much. Just underline that. Or maybe this whole thing can be summarized by RE is if ER is greater than RE, then do this. If ER is less than RE, then do this. So I will keep on making you those short notes beside those paragraphs and all, and you will have to get in the habit and do that, because it will be very helpful when you actually sit down with your revision. Right, so it is very important that you're shortening your content this way, and when I start off with that, I'll keep on making you do that. So I'll put you in the habit of doing it this way. It will be very useful, very helpful, trust me. You might not understand that right now, but later on you will. So you are going to be preparing from the Schweizer content. So how are you supposed to go about it? You're supposed to be watching the class or attending the class. Once your class is done, you're supposed to be reading that chapter very well, word to word, first time. I've seen some of the students doing, they'll attend or they'll watch all the classes. Of course, attending is not an option that way, but they'll watch all the classes and then they will start reading from the book. I don't think it's a very, very good idea. You need to attend the class, watch the class, and then you need to study that chapter, complete that chapter, practice that chapter, so that that work is done. And later on when you come back to revision, you'll just have to read the underlined portion, the shortened portion, etc. It'll become very easy and your registering will be very, very good. Don't just watch the class or attend the class, go back home and forget about it. For the live students, I will keep a track, because I know who's studying, who's not. I keep on asking how much whoever is doing. So I am going to be I'm going to be a little nagging in your live sessions at least. You will have a hard copy of performance tracker, so there you'll keep on ticking whatever is studied, whatever is not studied, whatever practice is done. So it's easier, because if I'm nagging, if I'm pestering you to study from the very beginning, you'll at least do something, and suddenly if you wake up 2 months before the exam, it'll be a problem for you. So it's better that I'm going to be nagging and I'm going to be I like to be personally involved and be concerned with whatever's going on in my class. So I am very involved, and I need you guys to get through the exam at any cost, and understand and get through the exam. Without understanding, you'll anyways not be able to. So I will keep on seeing whoever's bunking. So if I see someone not turning up for 2 weeks, I know who is not, even if the strength is 100 or so. I do point that out. So that is going to be there. So and I know, I understand. So, for work pressure and all. So whatever it is, even if you're off for a month, you take the 1 month classes back home, you do those classes and then again join in. That's fine, that's okay with me, but then it needs to be done. You cannot be avoiding. The work, you're going to be always getting busier, your work is going to will be increasing day by day, but then again, this is also very important. So you need to take this very seriously. So you're supposed to be attending the class, you're supposed to be solving this, and then what I would advise is to please try and maximize the use of institute's resources. I will be giving you a performance tracker. What exactly that's going to be is, it's going to be with all the reading names. You will have whether you attended the class column, so you need to keep on ticking whatever is done. You will have whether you have read and studied the chapter at home. You have done the practice from, let's say, institute's back questions. So we are not going to be using the institute's material to study, but we are going to be using the questions behind every single reading to do the practice. That is going to be quite good, quite important. That is very important. You're going to be doing the questions behind the reading. Now this column, what I do is, they are going to be in different shades of grey, darker, lighter and white. White you don't need to do, grey you need to do, dark grey you definitely need to do. So you know, that is how you will be getting for every single reading, because based on the difficulty level, based on the kind of questions that could be there, so on that basis you will be having that. After the bookshelf question is done, you also have a test yourself section when you log into the institute's website. So there are a lot of questions, approximately I believe you'll have around 30 questions per subject, and you keep on getting more and more questions online. So studying, practicing from the institute's resources is the best possible idea you can have. Why am I saying so? Because any XYZ service provider would ultimately be looking at the kind of questions institute is preparing, change the numbers, names, or modify that a little bit here and there, and generating questions. So if you know the basics, if you know the institute's question, that's the best possible way to practice. So study from Schweizer, not from the institute's material. Extra part is my responsibility, and practice from the institute's material. So in what order? So the first one should be bookshelf, the second one could be test yourself. No, actually in between I will put my mock book. That will be subject wise. So once your subject is over, that will not be reading wise. So once, say for example, I've completed my corporate finance subject. So once the corporate finance subject is done, you do mock book. There could be, let's say, 6 item sets on corporate finance. So item set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you need to do those 6 item sets over there, right? So mock book is going to be having those over here. And then you do your test yourself, then Schweizer book 2. Schweizer book 1 is after that. And then the institute's mock paper that you get immediately before the exam. So the order in which you're supposed to be practicing, and I've tried to understand, there'll be hundreds of people selling hundreds of stuff online. But again, institute's resources is something that you should be capitalizing on. And you will not have time to do 100% of everything. So the best idea would be to understand that this is what is to be done, in this order it is to be done. I will make it dark and light, and I'll do all the highlighting. You will have all the instructions on the tracker. So you will be knowing exactly where to practice first from. So when you're studying, maybe I will just focus on the bookshelf questions. I'll not do anything else. Or maybe bookshelf plus my mock book. For those who have more time right now, who are starting early. For those who will be starting late, only bookshelf. Even late, maybe only my mock book, subject wise. So you'll have to prioritize accordingly, and once your syllabus is completed, then you again start your revision, and maybe with revision you do test yourself, or maybe you do bookshelf and test yourself right now, my mock book and Schweizer book 2 with your test with your revision later on. So depending on how much of time you have, you will be able to do that. You will have a PDF version of the tracker also, so that you can just keep it with you handy and keep on scribbling that. Also, you'll have an Excel version. So the moment all you need to do in the Excel version is you need to put a done or a D, and you can just fill up multiple blocks together. The moment it is done, you will have all the analysis ready as to how many chapters are remaining, how much of practice is remaining, what is your status, how many weeks are needed to complete, how many days are there for revision, how many chapters per week you need to cover. All those things, all that analysis will be automatically updated. So you will have that Excel sheet with you, the performance track in the Excel format. You can make use of that as well. That is this part. How are you supposed to study, from where are you supposed to study, and where to practice from. I will have another session of 10-15 minutes where to practice and how to practice, but that I will be doing after one subject is over, so that once you are in the groove of studying, in the mode of studying, then I will tell you exactly how to practice and how exactly you're supposed to be attempting. Because even while practicing, your speed needs to be good, otherwise you're wasting time. So how exactly are you supposed to be practicing? There will be another 15 to 20 minute session. We'll be doing it a little later. So exactly how you're supposed to be practicing, I'll be discussing it a little later. That's about more or less about this part. Order of study, I've told you where to practice you will get. Performance tracker you will be getting, PDF and Excel both. You will get a list of order of study from the very beginning for the live students, and the video students also, exactly how you're supposed to be proceeding. You will have I've told you where to study from, where to practice from, how to start, order of study, performance tracker. You'll be getting your mind maps. You can start making short notes inside that right now itself if you feel like, that's up to you. How to revise, how to attempt. Towards the end of the exam in the last month, you will be getting this one. For the live students, will be attending over here, and for the video students, you need to of course watch this in the last month of your exam. For using your calculator. Now, for those who did not practice on the calculator very well and not very comfortable with the calculators, there's a video on YouTube. Please make sure you watch that. Every single function on the calculator is covered over there. Whatever errors you're making with the calculator is covered over there. Make sure that everybody has seen that. Even if you know how to use the calculator but you've not attended that class of mine, make sure you watch it again, right? Make sure that the calculator's 1.5 hour session or something is there. Every single function of your calculator has been used and taught. So you will be using this calculator again in level 2 and level 3. So make sure that you know how to use every single function over there. You might not be applying everything in the exam, but at least learn how to use everything. There could be certain functions which you might not have known about and might come in very useful. So make sure that your calculator is fine. You should be comfortable with opening 3 brackets, closing 3 brackets inside your mind without writing any number on the paper. You should be comfortable with that much. Bracket open, something plus something minus something, bracket open, something divide by something, second ln, etc., bracket open, closing 3 brackets. You should be comfortable with that. It's going to come through practice. You'll have to do that. You don't have an alternative. So revision and how to attempt your paper later on. All right. Out of syllabus questions, very unlikely to turn up because the institute has got a very well-defined list of LOSs. So it's very unlikely that you'll be getting any out of syllabus questions. Even if a question, 1 or 2 questions out of 120 seems to be a little offbeat, it's fine. But very unlikely, very unlikely that you'll get any question which is kind of out of syllabus. Questions could be tricky, will be tricky. You will always be confused between 2 options. That's always going to be there. It will be more confusing as compared to level 1. Time crunch is again a problem. We'll discuss all of that over here. But and also when I start discussing exactly how are you supposed to practice, how are you supposed to start practicing, how are you supposed to do your time management, and all, I'll keep on discussing in the class when I start off with it. So out of syllabus questions are very unlikely. Exam deference, don't start thinking of that. I have students who start thinking about when to defer the exam, how to defer the exam. Only if you have a medical condition or some emergency, you can mail the details, documents, etc. to the institute, and it will be the institute's prerogative whether to allow you to defer or not allow you to defer. But again, start studying very hard, so that even because I see students, sometimes they fall ill 2 weeks before the exam and all. It's a very regular thing. Out of so many people, there would be 1 or 2 persons, it seems to be a little of a bad luck or something. So make sure that you're not deferring everything to the last moment. Last moment, one project comes up in your office and because of that you can't give time. So it's better to start early, complete your revision, complete your syllabus, and be prepared. It's much better that way. Is Schweizer enough? Yes, along with all the handouts and all the extra and all the way we will be completing everything in the class, it's going to be absolutely fine. After the exam, you need to start working. You need to update your LinkedIn profile, start working on your Excel skills, your reading skills and all, because you will be ultimately applying all the questions will be case study, and you are going to be in the job, in the business, or whatever you're doing. It will be very important that you guys are very well read. I've seen this. This is something that people are not into so much of reading. Start catching up a little bit with management finance books, novels in the management and finance genre, and start being very updated with whatever is happening in the economic front, political front. Start following the markets, not in order to trade, maybe to invest, definitely not to trade. I'm not encouraging anybody to trade over here. You might want to invest, but at the same time start learning, because when these people give out news now that this happened in this company, Graphite India is trading 5 times at its value what it was just 5 months back. It's at 5 times. It used to be somewhere in the range of 100. It is 575 right now in just a few months. Why? Because China, the production for some electrode rods has gone down or something. So when you read this, you understand the implications. How do you do equity valuation? Like this, right? So I'm not asking you to become traders, but again, you need to start following the markets, tracking stocks, seeing why the movement is happening. That is how you'll be developing yourself. So do that for yourself. Please do that. We try to encourage over here as well, sending PDF of a book to start reading or something. We'll keep on doing that with you guys. But then you need to do that. Syllabus will be over before 1 month before an exam. Pass marks or grading. Now after level 1, you already understand that there is no pass marks as such. In general, we try to attempt 70 to 80% accurately all the questions. And you cannot be messing up one subject in a very bad manner. So every single subject should have a decent average score. So it is like passing in every individual subject and passing it on an aggregate basis. And don't think that the passing percentage is going to be somewhere around 40 to 45. So we are going to get very easily done with it. One, the exams are expensive, so everybody studies. Nobody takes it lightly. That is one. Second, 40% is the pass rate of those people who have already cleared level 1. So technically it is 16% of the initial 100 students. Because 40% people have cleared, and out of that 40% is going to be passing right now. So when you're comparing to the pool of 100 students, it's only 16. So you don't need to you need to be taking your exams very seriously, right? It's easily manageable along with work. With respect to the number of hours, it's going to be around 130, 140 hours over here with your regular classes, and another 15 to 25 hours. It will be around 20-25 hours of your revision lectures at the end. So when you're looking at the classes, now I'll just very briefly again quickly tell you, especially for the video students, they need to understand the D2H students. There'll be one folder with one chapter name, two chapter name, etc. until 52. So there'll be about 52 folders, and every single folder will be having all the videos of each classes. Most of the videos are going to be approximately between half an hour to 1 hour. So maybe a chapter one reading is of 3 hours, so you'll have around 4 to 6 videos in that. So you will be doing all those readings. So every single reading has one folder, and all the videos are over there. Then there will be another folder called other videos, in which you will find order of where to practice, sorry, not order of study, that's a PDF, where to practice, how to revise, how to attempt, introduction, that is this class which is going to get uploaded on YouTube. So the introduction, how to use the calculator, I think that's about it. Practice, revise, attempt, calculator, introduction class, and maybe if there's something, if I'm forgetting something, I think that's about it. And then there will be another one with revision lectures. So all the revision lectures will be another folder. So there'll be 3 folders with all the videos. Other than that, order of study, practice, performance tracker in PDF and Excel, all that other files, other notes will be provided to you in the physical form over here, and to the or maybe WhatsApp to you guys. And for the video students, it will be either in the hard copy or in the soft copy, depending. Of course, Excel will be in the soft copy. The rest might be in hard copy and soft copy both. Whatever handouts are there will be also there, probably in the soft copy, but generally everything is going to be given to you in the hard copy as well. There will be a mock book which will be given to you guys, and you'll have to make sure that you're practicing from that. The tracker will tell you exactly how to go about with the practice. After the first subject is completed, you will have this where to practice your session. So once one subject is over, you know exactly, because that is the time when you will start practicing. You will be in the study zone, and you'll know exactly how to go about it. So we will do it then. Just give me a second. Let me just check if I've missed out on any topic. Exam dates, syllabus. Formulas are quite a bit. Volume is a relatively lower part. Equity is the focus over here. But then every single subject, because it's still 20-25%. FRA, equity, derivatives. You cannot mess around with any of the subjects. A lot of people have this question about the experience part, so don't worry. Once you're done with your level 3, you'll just have to fill in. Once your 4 years of experience is done, you will need to get 2 recommendations. Basically, suppose you worked in an XYZ office, or even it is your family business and it is related to finance, you will have to give 2 people's names, designations, their email IDs. They will have to fill up a form, and they will be verifying your work experience. So don't worry about it. It's not that big that it looks like. Once your 4 years is completed, you will just have to fill in the details on the institute's website. You don't have to send anything over there. No proof is required, nothing of that sort. All you need to do is fill in all the details, and there will be 2 people who will be verifying your credentials. That's all that's going to be there. For those students who are using the 2017 curriculum's books, they just need to be photocopying 3 readings. One is currency exchange rates, that's in economics. One is the first reading of dividend, that is your forwards, the pricing mechanism for forwards and futures, I believe. One second. That is your pricing and valuation of forward commitments. This one, economics currency reading. And the third one is your dividend in your corporate finance. These are the 3 readings that you need to photocopy if you're using the older version of your books. That's all. Exam structure, where to study from, how to start, time needed to prepare. So the time needed to prepare part would be approximately 100 to 130 to 140 hours would be this curriculum. The other lectures would be, the revision ones would be approximately 15 to 25 hours, that is for the last month. The other videos would be hardly around 2-3 hours. You know, 20-25 minutes for this one, 20-25 minutes for this, 15 minutes for this. Calculator would be an hour and a half. Introduction lecture, the one right now, in order to put you in the study mode, is going to be an hour and a half or something. So that is your other lectures. Along with that, of course, you'll have to study by yourself. So whatever I'm doing, try to stay updated. So it's very simple to schedule yourself. Say suppose I'm starting in the month of November, or let's say December, January, February, March and April. Suppose I'll try to complete my curriculum in 5 months. 5 months is 20 weeks. 20 weeks, 50 chapters. So per week I'm supposed to be doing how much? About 2.5 chapters, 2.5 readings. And if I want to complete the syllabus by the month of May, So I have about 24 weeks. 24 weeks again, 52 readings. So approximately two readings. So start targeting 3 readings right now, so that the average becomes 2.5 by the time you reach January or February. Because you might have, certain peak periods in your office, certain periods when you have college exams or anything, whatever's going on with you. So scheduling is very simple. You just need to target how many readings you need to do on a per week basis, and this will help you. The Excel will tell you exactly how much to study. That will not be a problem. So the time needed to prepare would be again 130 to 140 hours of lectures. So 3 hours of classes, so maybe 130 hours. You can break it up into, let's say, 140 divided by, again, let's say 20 weeks, so 7 hours. So 7 to 8 hours, 9 hours of classes, and then studying. So make sure that 7 hours of class is done and the study part of updating the study part is done. So that's what you need to do, and a little bit of practice in between. The practice I've already told you. Maybe we'll try to do the bookshelf back questions right now and the remaining later. If you want, for the institute's material, you can just take out the printout of the question part, of only the chapter end question part. If you want, I can connect you with someone who can, maybe send it to you or something. So just the question part, you can just print, take the print or have the hard copy of the question part and not the whole institute material part. You can do that. Or you can also buy the institute's print version, but I think it's very expensive and it does not make sense right now to do that. So that's that, and mind maps will be given for every single chapter. Performance track and all we've discussed. Mind maps are written. Revision, how to attempt your paper, calculator, institute material, questions, out of syllabus, exam, choice enough. Okay, this one I have done, this one I have discussed, this one I have discussed, this one is done. Just a second. So how to make notes and all, I'll keep on doing. When I do the chapter, I'll keep on giving you all those writings and all. Alright, for one more thing, for the video students, now the live students will of course be attending the classes right now. For the video students, you will not be receiving 3 readings right now, the ones which are new right now. So everything else, when the video students enroll, they get everything automatically couriered to their place. You can very easily go to d2h.sudarshan-agrawal-classes and just .com and get the enrollment done, or very simply, for any query, any issue, just WhatsApp on this number, message on this number, or call on this number, and it shall be taken care of. So whatever query, whatever issue you have, you can absolutely just WhatsApp over here and you'll get all the details over here. The 3 readings which are new over here will be emailed to you by the end of January. So when we are doing a June, it's always the same for all the subjects, for all the curriculums, for everything. So in case your exam is in June, so 3 or 4 months before, the 3 readings, and in fact I'll try to do it by the end of December itself. So the moment I'm done with the 3 readings in the live batches, I will mail it to you. The other readings will all be provided to you immediately. Every single LOS, the syllabus coverage will be 100% exhaustive. Every single LOS is going to be covered. Every single LOS will be matching with your 2018 curriculum itself. So whether it's live, whether it's D2H, it doesn't matter. Every word to word of your 2018 curriculum will be matching with the classes that you will receive. And live students will be attending over here, so that will not be an issue. Other than that, I believe I have covered more or less everything. The changes in syllabus I've already discussed. If you want to, if you don't know where to order the Schweizer books from, you can again WhatsApp over here and she'll give you the details. She'll connect you to a bookseller. We do not provide Schweizer books. This is what I'll be providing. All the classes, all the lectures, live or video, either ways, all this and a mock book. So all this will be provided to you from our end. Everything will be taken care of. Schweizer is not something that we sell. Schweizer is something to be sold by Schweizer. So we do not sell that material, but we will be referring to that material when we are conducting the lectures. So you guys are free to buy it from anybody, and if you want any help to connect with the bookseller, you can WhatsApp on this number and you shall get all the details. The time taken to prepare I've done. Exam time management, I'll tell you how to go about it. I think we are more or less done with this. Make sure your registrations are done with your level 2 exams. For the live classes and video classes, I just have a few things to mention. One, do not think about how it is going to be passing. Don't try to get into those tricks and all. You need to complete your curriculum 100%, thoroughly study and go ahead with it. For the live classes, for the live students, just you'll have around 3 classes a week right now, so that because I want to complete the syllabus 1 to 1.5 months before the exam, you will be having classes on weekends. The weekend classes will be a separate subject and weekday will be a separate subject. Say for example, I'll start on economics on weekdays. So there'll be one weekday evening, morning. I'll decide with you guys after the session is over, and on that day only suppose economics is going. After economics will be over, another subject will be going. Saturday, Sunday is irrelevant, is absolutely separate. So there could be students who might be wanting to attend only the weekend classes and weekdays. So you can take the weekday curriculum at home immediately. So for those who have a job, they cannot attend the classes on weekdays. They take the weekday subject at home and weekend subjects you're going to be doing over here. So we'll be having around 3 classes a week. For doubt sessions, you'll obviously have doubt sessions on a weekly basis. So in case I'm free after your class or before your class, you can do doubts that way. Otherwise, you will have at least 2-3 options, at least an option or two, at least 2 options on a per week basis where you can do all the doubts. For the video students, with respect to the doubts, you will be a part of the WhatsApp group, the live students as well as video students. So in your WhatsApp group, you can always keep on posting your doubts, screenshots, etc. You can help out each other. I will not be responding to the doubts on WhatsApp group all the time. You will have your phone calling time where you can call up for the doubts and we will take care of all the doubts that is there. So you can call up. You will have your timings given. The doubt sessions, timings will be given. We will keep on posting in the group. We'll keep on informing you that, you know, between this time and this time, you can call for doubts and you can be calling for your doubts then, right? You can, for any unresolved issue, for any query that is unresolved, any issue that you're happening, my number is this one. That is my number. So you can easily call me, you can WhatsApp me. Try not to call because obviously I'm in the class and it's very difficult to attend the calls all the time. But in case your any query is unresolved, so first of all, if you have any technical issue, be it live students or video student, any backup issue, live doubt issue or any kind of an issue, you first WhatsApp on this number that is provided to you. So she's the coordinator. She'll take care of everything that is there. She'll get your query resolved as soon as possible. Any technical issue, anything. Try not to put your technical queries in the groups because everybody is studying, everybody is a professional and it gets very disturbing and irritating. So try to put only your academic groups in the doubt, and for any other query you just WhatsApp her. And if your query is not being addressed to, it has not been taken care of in time, then you can directly contact me. That is my personal number. So you can always get in touch with me if your query is unresolved. Give her a day's time to get your query resolved. If it is not resolved, then I'm always there, right? And for the doubts, you will be getting a regular time period. Live students can come over and do the doubts, not on the on video, and try not to do your WhatsApp doubts on WhatsApp for the live students. You have extra rooms over here. After the class, sit back, do the doubts together. Try to, you know, be a part of your study group and all. Try to interact as much as possible. For the video students, you can always WhatsApp your doubts. Do it on the WhatsApp group, and if there is something unresolved, I will take care of it in the call timings, and the timings will be informed to you. So you will not have any problem with respect to the doubts. New chapters will be separately mailed to the video students. With respect to backup, if say for example a live student is attending is missing out on live classes, regular backups are running, you can attend that. In case you're going to go for an outstation audit or an outstation work, or 1 month you're going to leave, or you found a job and you're relocating to another city, all the remaining lectures will be given to you on a hard drive. You can bring your hard drive, get the lectures, go and study. We don't charge anything extra for that. So that is absolutely there. And for those students who are going to be studying only on the weekends over here and weekdays is going to be your working, in that case weekday subjects will be taken by you on the very beginning or in the very beginning of your session. Mock test will be at the end, so the video students, of course, they'll have to do it at home. Revision lectures will be provided to them. And for the live students, you can enroll after 3 or 4 classes. For the video students, you already have a couple of classes for every course uploaded on YouTube, so you can watch those lessons. If you like it, you can enroll. And the question, lectures will be in English and Hindi combined, so it makes it more conversational and easier for me to communicate. So the lectures will be a combination of English and Hindi both. More of English, but it's going to be a mix of both the languages. And along with that, videos folder, I think I've told you everything. Schweizer CD, again people question, it's absolutely not required. Don't do that. Schweizer book 1 also avoid, because you won't get that time. So Schweizer CD, don't do it at all. When you're looking at the Schweizer practice book 1, don't do it at all, because you have the institute chapters back questions, the readings back question on the bookshelf that you get. You have the practice on test yourself section on the institute's website. You will get my mock book, which is important, which you are supposed to be doing, and you will also get your the mock papers that the institute provides just before the exam. After that, I don't see you left with a lot of time to practice. If still you're left with some time to practice, Schweizer Book 2 is what we'll do. But Schweizer Book 1, I think we'll leave out. Schweizer Book 2 standard is much better. Every single LOS is going to be covered. I've already mentioned that. Not a single LOS, single line is going to be left out. Order of study will be provided also. In order to make it easier for you, I'll give you the breakup of every chapter's duration. I will try to provide it for the live students also so that they have an idea of the length of the duration. But for video students, of course, you'll have an absolute length of every single chapter. So what is the duration of every single chapter in order to make your planning easier? So you'll have that. In order to prevent any kind of misuse, what we do is, for the video students is more applicable. In order to prevent misuse, we try to keep the number of views you can do for every lecture. We are increasing it to 7 times. So any lecture can be viewed 7 times, because maybe you watched half the lecture, then you had to go somewhere, the video closed by chance or something. So there are 7 views. Every single lecture, every single video can be opened and watched 7 times. But even after that, if there is a problem, you can always ping on this number 98304. My number is 1. 98304, that's the coordinator's number. You can ping on that number, you can get the views increased. We don't charge for that. It's just to prevent any kind of misuse. So any misuse will not be allowed. The videos will be running on only one single system, so you cannot have the same have the same lectures running on 3 different computers, of course. But in case your laptop is not working, then the older laptops, we'll remove the machine key for that, and we will again add it to the next machine. So that will not be a problem. You just need to WhatsApp over here that my old laptop or computer, desktop, etc. is not working. I want to shift it to a new one. So it will not run on the old one anymore. It will start running on the newer one. We will do that for you. In case you have to defer your exam or do not clear your exam for any reason or so, in that case, say for example, you're appearing for the exam in June 2018, your validity after you submit proof, any screenshot of that you did not clear the exam or you have deferred the exam, the moment you give a screenshot, we will increase the validity to next year without any increase. Even if the fees is increasing or something, you'll not have to bother about it. So we increase the validity. For the live students, you're always welcome. Even if you've cleared, not cleared, whatever, you want to revise again, you're more than welcome to attend again all the classes. Absolutely, there is no problem. Even if you've attended a class and you still want to attend the backup again just because you want to get a better understanding, or you're not well during the class or something, you're absolutely more than welcome to attend the classes. There is no question about it. You just need to understand everything and clear the exam. That's all we people want you guys to do. So if there's any problem with respect to the classes, again, ping me on a person. Of course, don't ping me directly if she's not responded in 1 hour. Don't do that. Just give her a day's time or something. Give her a working day's time. She is very responsive. She will be responding on the WhatsApp immediately. She will get your query resolved. If there's any issue which is unresolved for maybe a couple of days or something, 2 or 3 days, if something has not yet been able to be resolved, in that case you reach me, because anything she has a problem with, we have a whole technical team and everything in the office that is going to be helping you out on that. In case of any technical issue, you can always have an AME admin or a team viewer or something. They can share the screen and they can resolve the issue for you as well. So you always have access. In case there's any unresolved issue, there's another number. You'll get all the numbers and details. I don't want to write it over here. Once you enroll, you have all the details, any website links, etc. Whatever you need, just WhatsApp her and you should have all the details. I think I'm missing out on one more thing, I guess. Yeah, I think that is more or less about it. Is there anything I'm left with? We'll also be launching the classes in the form of tablet or cell phone. So cell phones and tablet classes will also be launched. I think it's going to be done by the end of 2017 December. So we'll have all the classes available on Android platforms. We don't have the classes on iOS. So in case someone is using Apple computers or laptops, you will have to have parallel windows run on your desktop. So there are a lot of students who are using a MacBook, and on the iOS there's a lot of encryption issues and all security issues. So we do not have it on Apple. So you can easily on your MacBook itself, you can run parallel windows and you can run the classes on that. It's not a very tedious process, it's very easy, and good number of students are doing that. So in case someone is using Apple MacBook, etc., you can very easily have parallel windows and run the classes on that. So anything that I'm missing out on, any questions that I'm left with? I've tried to cover almost everything. Anything that you have on mind? Any question, anything at all? You will get a list. So whatever subjects we are going to do on weekends, the order in which we are going to do, you'll get that everything in the first class itself. The first class, when we start studying, you'll have that on with you. Time duration per class is 2.5 3 hours. Thank you for asking that question. Now for the live students, of course, it's going to be a 3-hour class. Generally we have a 8 to 11, 11 to 2, 2 to 5, 2:30 to 5:30 on Sundays. On Saturdays again, it's like an 8 to 11 in the morning, 8:30 to 11:30. and so on and so forth. But for video students, again, I've seen a lot of people questioning, I'm working for my office and I need to send a mail, because when you're playing the video on your laptop, you will not be able to do anything else on your laptop, because the encryption has to be strong, because that's our intellectual property, right? So that's just to make sure that the whole safety thing is there. So I've seen students, it's a 1 hour video and I need to watch it in 5 parts. I will watch 10 minutes at a time. Please don't do that. Live students, of course, I'll pass sarcastic comment if I see you guys using your phone in between the class. If you have something very urgent, you can just go outside, attend your call and come back. Otherwise, if you're WhatsApping continuously, I'll be passing a little bit of sarcastic comments, so everybody gets entertained. So the point is that, guys, please be very attentive. Finance is something I enjoy. I love to teach finance, and you guys have to be very attentive. There is something that needs to put you in the work mode when you are actually studying. So for the D2H students, I know it's very difficult for me to track you guys while you are attending the lecture. Please do not use your phone. Keep your data network off. Do not use your phone while you are studying. You do not want to, study 6 months again this year and again 6 months next year and crack the exam in 2 attempts. You don't want to do that. You need to show that kind of respect for the exam, for the curriculum that you're doing. So please don't do that. I mean, sincerely request you guys not to do that. It's very important. And don't do half an hour study, then I will do my office work, then again half an hour study, I'll do some nonsense, then again half an hour study. I know it's very difficult for the working professionals to work and study together. I'll give you a lot of tricks. While we do, I keep on adding on a few tricks over here and there. So one thing that is there, if you sleep for 1 hour, get up, sleep for 1 hour, get up, you will not get a good sleep. You will not be feeling relaxed or fresh. Similarly with study, you need to have that 3-4 hour continuous process when you're studying, because it puts you in the work mode. So the first couple of hours is just to put you in the mode of studying. You need to be oblivious to any distraction that's around there. Then only you have to grasp every single formula, every single concept. You need to see if this figure is coming from here, from there. You have to calculate in 5 different ways in which you can get that particular answer. And why using this method I cannot get this? Why is this wrong? So every single thing needs to be done. Why can I whole square this? Why can I add the squares over here? So I'll do all that when I'm doing the classes. I keep on telling you, don't make this mistake, don't make that mistake. One more thing that I tell you, while you're studying, keep one loose sheet in every single book. Write the formulas in your own handwriting. It always helps for the exam day. You have your formula sheets, but again, write the formulas in your own handwritings. It'll always help, always help. Keep a sheet wherein, whatever mistakes you're making, you keep on writing. Say, for example, don't forget to use opposite signs for PV and FV. Like, that's one mistake which I see students making. You have to put the signs of the cash flows in an opposite manner when you're entering into the calculator. Don't forget to subtract this, or don't forget to convert it into BY. Don't forget to do into 2, and don't forget to annualize rate. So whatever mistakes you're making, make a sheet, because before the exam day, you'll be consciously reading all those mistakes and you'll not make it. And I'll keep on giving you small pieces, bits and pieces here and there all throughout the lectures. And if you're with your phone, especially the D2H students, if you're with your phone, you'll miss out on those 1 or 2 statements. I'll keep on telling you, here you make this mistake, here you make that mistake. I keep on talking about it in the classes, because I've seen all the kind of mistakes that the students make. So, I know what kind of mistakes are there, where you might go wrong, what kind of questions can come, what kind of questions can be framed, not can come. I've got nothing to do with the institute's exam paper being set. Institute, the way they check, the way they put the exam, I've got nothing to do with the institute. So a proper disclaimer, I have nothing to do with the exam paper. So I don't want any kind of misconception over here. But then, the way questions are framed, looking at so much of mock papers, practice papers, so much of content for so many years, we understand all these things. And every single mistake, every single thing I keep on pointing out, there will not be a single line or a single LOS that will be missed out in your entire curriculum. I can 100% guarantee that. Never in any single topic that I take, be it CFA, any of the 3 levels that I take, be it FRM, any of both the levels that I take. I take 100% of all the curriculum's paper. We don't have any one else coming for ethics or economics, because I get very connected to my students. I know that I cannot, delegate that responsibility to someone else. I will take 100% of the lectures. I will be 100% with you guys all throughout the curriculum, because I need to be involved. I need to get you guys through. So D2H students in particular, I cannot be nagging you guys so much, but you have to make sure that you guys are not using your phone so much, and try to do at least 2-3 hours of classes at a stretch. Otherwise, it will not make sense. So I know a lot of people, they want to view the half the lecture, 30 minutes, then again get back after 30 minutes. It's a very bad idea. At least 1.5, 2 hours is the bare minimum you need to do. Take the weekend, study. On the weekdays, do your practice. Do it that way. But you need to have long stretches of studies. I know you have a family life, friend life, and personal life, and it's difficult to manage with work. But then again, you'll have to make compromises because you'll not be studying throughout your entire life. So you might be doing your education, once your validation, your education, your degree is done, then you'll again get back to your normal mode. Right, so it's a one-time thing. You need to crack your exam. You have to give it that importance. For those who don't respect academics, your studies, your exam, your degree, or whatever you're doing, so much it will be a problem. So you'll have to do that. So yes, the duration of the class will be 3 hours. And the D2H students, please, if someone is not there to monitor you, keep on feeding the data in the performance tracker Excel. That is there to scare you. That is just there to scare you, so that you guys are on board. Instead of regretting starting later, we might as well scare you a little bit in the beginning and you guys are with the study mode. Also, one more thing which I do for the video students, actually, the D2H students, in the WhatsApp group, after most of the people are there, I just ask you to ping your location over there. So once you ping your location, you can just ping, everybody just can post their location. So if 2-3 people see they are in the same location, they can get into their personal chat and they can study together. It's easier when you have a couple of people studying together. It's always easier. You should make a lot of friends, a lot of connections and friends when you're studying together, because you're going through the same study phase. So it's easier, to study when you have someone to ask your doubt on an immediate basis. Because I might not be responsive on a 24-hour basis. You have to understand that. I'll not lie. I'll not say that I'm available 100% 24/7. You'll have weekly doubt sessions, once, twice, thrice, 4 times, whatever. It'll be more number of sessions towards the exam, less number of sessions once a week or twice a week maybe for now. So all that will be there. But at the same time, you'll have to understand. So, it's always good to be friends with people who are studying the same thing. It will improve both your concepts. So we'll help you with all those things, very small things. That's I try to make the video sessions or D2H sessions also as personal as possible. I'm very much available, pinging on WhatsApp, sending voice notes here and there in between during the exams. For the live students, it's over here. For the video students, I keep on sending voice notes and all. So I try to keep it as personal as possible because I like to be very involved. So that's something I do. But anyways, this is more or less about it. Tell me any other question that you guys have. Anything else? Nothing? Alright, perfect. So that's more or less about your level 2 curriculum. Get set going. Alright. Thank you.